This is how I hollow out Tele guitar bodies. What I've done is I've taken a standard Tele template and I've cut out with a scroll saw how I want to hollow out the guitar. I've got a couple different cavities, and depending on how you want to build the guitar, you can always, knock these out with a chisel or with a router. But what I do is I add these bars for some stability, and then I go ahead and I screw in at multiple points this template so it doesn't move and it's really rigid against the body. So this is a Corinna back, and what I'll do then after I'm done is I'll take my maple top and I'll fit my maple top. I'll cut this out into the template, and I know I've got the perfect line once I draw this on. So it's really important when you're building a hollow body is that you take some stock removal out before. A lot of times I'll see guys drill with a drill press to remove most of the stock, that way you don't really get at it with your router bits. Or for me, I've taken one big router bit, done this in the middle to get it started, and since I've got this router with a 3/4 bit, this is a nice 3/4 bit, brand new, I'll be able to go in here, get my depth set correctly, and I'll be able to clean this out relatively quickly. When you're using these bigger bits, you want to make sure that you got the speed correct. If you get a really large bit over an inch, you're going to have to slow down your motor. But for this one, I could keep it at about that same speed. It's not, bigger than 1 inch. It's 3/4 with a inch depth. So other key to this is that I've got a router with a large plate. That way there's going to be no tipping. The DeWalt router that I have, that's my favorite, is a little bit too thin, and if I don't have a new base for it, what happens is you get close to the edges, you'll get some tipping and you won't have as much stability. So I always make sure I've got a router with a big base, a good sized bit, and then you want to make sure that you go ahead and drill out. That way you've got some relief and you're not really forcing the wood down, and you've got the template. So here, I'll show you how I do it. Alright, so here we are. I got all three sides routed. I'm going to just take my pencil, make sure I've got the outline drawn, so I know exactly where I need to line up the body. Now I use these nibs here on the end to make sure I've got just a little bit more stability. I could probably do it on each side, but this is just for use. I get a lot of stability by having these extra nibs in. That's it. Now unscrew this. There we go. Nice hollowed out Tele shaped body. Get my maple top. I'll glue that down next. And you can already hear nice resonance out of this body. When I'm routing the F-hole, I've got a special template built, based off a Tele F-hole guitar. And I go to my pin router and I route this with a 1/8 inch bit. So this is what I just completed. I'm going to go ahead and do another top with an F-hole. I'll show you how to do that. Alright, so this is my setup. I take the pin, I've got an 1/8 inch pin here, and I change out my bit to have an 1/8 inch bit. It's real simple to do. All I do is drop my template on here, get it set to the right depth, and then route away. So since I've already got this one partially routed, I can go ahead, line this up, make sure I'm not digging into my template at all, which is right there. Get my pin lowered. Now I'm all set. Gonna flip on the dust corrector and I'll route. One point of caution I want to make is that when you're routing out the edges here, these little corners, if you get a lot of end grain, you'll end up tearing these out. So you always want to be careful when you're routing here that you give yourself a little bit extra room, that you're not taking off too much on the beginning. Always take a little bit of a short pass here and a short pass there and work your way into these corners, because if you get too much corn you'll get tear out since you've got a real thin piece of wood. That's always a point of caution there.